Hare Krishna. Today we come together to commemorate the appearance day of Sri Advaitacarya. It is described that Sri Advaitacarya is an incarnation of Mahavishnu, also combined with Sadashiva. He has come as a member of the Panchatattva. We know from the Bhagavad Gita that Ajopisan Avyayatma Bhutanam Isharopisan Prakritim Swam Adhishtaya Sambhavami Atmamayaya. The Supreme Lord, Krishna, and his incarnations, they are Aja, they are unborn, because they are eternally existent. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no birthday as such, but just like the sun, which is ever present in the sky, which is seen at different times by different people in the morning as the rising sun by the horizon. So in the same way, the Lord, who is ever existent, comes into this material world and is seen to appear and seems to take birth. But then Krishna, he clarifies, Ajopisan Avyayatma. Although I am never born, my body is Avyayatma, it is inexhaustible. Prakritim Swam Adhishtaya, I am the Lord of all creatures, and I am the master of all living beings. Still, I appear in this world under my own spiritual energy. Sambhavami Atmamayaya. So in this way, we have to understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead doesn't take birth, but he appears in this world in the vision of the conditioned souls under his own sweet will, because he has a very munificent mission to accomplish. So we are told that Sri Advaitacharya, he appeared in a village called Nabagram. This is in Bengal. He accepted parents by the name of Kubera Pandit and Shrimati Nabadevi. So this world, because he has a purpose to come. And that purpose will be discussed a little later on in our talk. First, we want to establish that Advaitacharya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. And he is a great, 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 inestimable personality. The Brahma Samhita is describing Yasyaika Nishwasita Atava Kalam Atavalambyam Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagadandanata Vishnu Mahan Sa Ihayasya Kala Vishesho Govinda Mari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. There, Lord Brahma, who is the head of our Sampradaya, our disciplic line, means he's the authority through whom we can understand reality. Our knowledge is a descending type of knowledge. It is received from the seers of truth, and it is brought down through the disciplic line. So in the Brahma Samhita, he is saying, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who by his one breath, Yasyaika means one, Eka, Nishwasita, breath, that duration of that one breath of the Mahavishnu, so many controllers like Brahma, they take their birth and they stay and they meet their demise. So how long is that breath of Lord Krishna, of Lord Vishnu? Please excuse me for just a tiny second, dear devotees. Very, very. So we were discussing how Mahavishnu is the personality of Godhead. His one breath is the lifespan of Brahma. lifespan of Brahma is mentioned to be 311 trillion 40 billion years. So many, many years. That is just one breath. This is God. So such a personality, when he comes to this material world, he can never be taken to be like any living being, like any one of us. So Advaitacharya, when he grew up, he was very studious. He learned the Sanskrit language, he studied the scriptures, and he used to teach in Navadvip. He had his own school, and he appeared way before Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had appeared. And he was basically the contemporary of Sri Ishwara Puri, who later became the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the Lord accepted initiation from Sri Madhavendra Puri. So Madhavendra Puri is very famous devotee who discovered the deity of Gopal in Vrindavan. Gopal asked him to please release me. I've been stuck in this bush for many years. He had been hidden there after the Muslims were invading. And so he appeared in a dream to Madhavendra Puri. Eventually, he asked Madhavendra Puri that you go to get me some chandan. My body is keeping very high temperature. I'd been sitting underground for too long. So if you go to Jagannath Puri and you bring some chandan for me, to help me cool my body. Madhavendra Puri took that trip, very long trip, very ecstatically he went, although he was an old devotee. Eventually, on his way back in Ramuna, he saw that they were offering very nice kheer to the deity of Gopinath there. He desired, this kheer is amazing. It was called Amrita Keli. Very, very, very tasteful. He was thinking, I wonder actually how it tastes like, so I could be able to make it and offer it to my Gopal. And then he felt very bad. How am I desiring something that is meant for the Lord? And he went that night to rest in a public market. Then Gopinath woke his pujari, told him, I have a very dear devotee of mine. His name is Madhava Puri. I've kept a pot of kheer. I've stolen it and I've hidden it underneath my dhoti. You take that, you go to the market and call for this sannyasi Madhava Puri and give it to him. Tell him Gopinath has kept this kheer for you. So Madhavendra Puri, having received that kheer from Gopinath, he felt that now everyone will know that the Lord had stolen kheer on my behalf. And the people will come and mob me, thinking I'm a great devotee, praise me. And he understood that the kutinati, duplicity, is not good for the devotee. Worse is name and fame. If the devotee becomes caught up in name and fame, it spoils devotion. So a very, very exalted Vaishnav that the Lord was eventually known as Kheer Chor Gopinath. He had stolen kheer for him, Madhavendra Puri. So this Madhavendra Puri, he was the guru of Ishwara Puri, the guru of Advaitacharya, Lord Nityananda. So what a powerful personality. Of course, we understand that the Lord accepted Madhavendra Puri as a spiritual master just to teach us that no matter who you are, no matter how exalted, intelligent you may be, we all require to surrender at the lotus feet of a spiritual master and receive knowledge from him. So he accepted to reciprocate love. Advaitacharya then had his school. He was teaching. One of his students was the firstborn son of Mother Sachi and Jagannath Mishra. His name was Vishvarupa. So Vishvarupa had been learning under Advaitacharya. He loved him very dearly. in course of time, he decided to take sannyas, Vishwarupa, and leave home. And this did not sit very well with Mother Sachi. She resented that by his association with Advaitacharya, my son has become a sannyasi and left home. So it is always the case that devotees, they love sannyasis. They love sannyasis, but they don't want their own sons to become sannyasis. Mother Sachi didn't like that, and then she was afraid. When Nimai was born, and then he was also becoming friendly with Advaitacharya, he was worried that this Advaitacharya, he made my son become a renunciate. I hope he doesn't influence my golden Nimai, because Mother Sachi was taking great solace in having Nimai Pandit home. So when Nimai Pandit grew up and then he became married, Mother Sachi was relieved. Okay, this Advaitacharya, he didn't spoil my son's life by influencing him with this renunciation. But she had celebrated too early. We understand that Advaitacharya, as he was teaching in Navadvip, then he could see that the people were becoming very much lost from the ways of devotion. That nowhere could you hear the sound of Krishna's name being chanted. The so-called Brahmanas were doing all other pujas, Kali Puja, Durga Puja, Ganesh Puja, all sorts of other demigod worship, and without any trace of the worship of the son of Nanda Maharaj Krishna. And being a soft-hearted Vaishnava, he was feeling pained that unless and until one surrenders at the lotus feet of Krishna, Krishna has said, Sarva dharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayisami masucha. Abandon all varieties of religion, all ideas of happiness and salvation, give them up and surrender unto me alone. And I will take care of all your sinful reactions, do not fear. Basically, Krishna is known as Mukunda. He's the giver of liberation. For those who surrender to him, then he says, liberation is sorted. It's not a problem. I will take care of it. So Advaitacharya was seeing that the people were going astray. They were too much absorbed in making money, in decorating their bodies, in watching their children and grandchildren go through marriages. And if at all the name of Krishna would come out, was in some musical entertainment. So he was thinking, I cannot be able to help these people. But you, Krishna, you can assist them, you can deliver them. And so he was worshipping his Shalargam Shila and remembering a mantra which is in Gautamiya Tantra. Tulasi matreina jalasya chulukena va vinikriya swam atmanasya bhaktebhyo bhaktavatsala. He read that in Gautamiya Tantra it is said that if a devotee, Krishna, who is very, very kind to his devotees, he will sell himself to a devotee who offers him one leaf of tulsi and a palmful of Ganga water with devotion. So Krishna is not very expensive, dear devotees. He's the cheapest product in town. Only asking for one leaf of tulsi and one palmful of Ganga. He says he will sell himself to that devotee. So Advaitacharya thinking that if Krishna is attainable as such, I will call for him that you please come. And all of this was coinciding with the Yuga Dharma, the avatar of the age, the Yuga avatar had to come. And this is how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was brought to the earth by the cries of Advaitacharya. He was piteously calling out for Krishna. Later on, Mahaprabhu tells Advaitacharya and his associates that I was sleeping in the ocean of milk. I was sleeping, and then I was woken up by the loud calls of Advaita. And he brought me here. He brought me here. And Mahaprabhu, he is soon to appear. We can see that every day it is becoming auspicious. More and more devotees are appearing. A few days ago, it was the appearance day of Raghunath Das Goswami. Shrimati Vishnupriya appeared. It was the appearance of Raghunandan Thakur. So everything leading towards the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Prema Avatar, who appeared in the dark full moon night in a day which was considered inauspicious. It was a lunar eclipse. So everyone, to counteract that bad vibration, they were in the Ganga, and everyone, the Muslims, the Hindus, they were all chanting the holy name. And in that loud vibration of the Hare Krishna mantra and so many other mantras, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made his appearance, answering the loud calls of Sri Advaitacharya. And in the midst of all that chanting, he was declaring that he has come, Enechi Asodi Maya Nasibaro Lagi, that I have brought the medicine. And what is this medicine? It is Harinama Maha Mantra, Lao Tumi Magi. It is the strong holy name of Krishna. And it is fit to destroy the disease of the age of Kali. So we owe a debt to Sri Advaitacharya for piteously, for months, calling out and requesting that Sri Krishna come, and therefore Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come, and he has brought with him the treasure of the holy name. And if we are at all to please Advaitacharya, is that we must accept this Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as our life and soul. We must accept his method of self-realization, which is Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, 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 Nasteva Gatianyataha. Which means there's no other way, no other way, no other way in Kali Yuga. No way for deliverance except chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name, chanting the holy name. Some say, oh Prabhu, we are hearing this all the time. Every time we have to be told, chant Hare Krishna. But the problem is that we have no taste for chanting Hare Krishna. And where will we get the taste? Devotees always ask, we're asking, unless and until we chant the holy name, then only will we get the taste for the holy name. Like any habit, the more we do something, the more we become accustomed to it, and the more it becomes habitual. So the holy name of Krishna is none different from Krishna. Abhina Tvam Nama Namino. It is the gift that Lord Chaitanya has brought, and he has been summoned here by the calls of Advaitacharya. So Sri Advaitacharya is a member of the Panchatattva. So we have this prayer that Panchatattvat Makam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarpakam Bhakta Avataram Bhakta Kyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. So Bhakta Rupa, the 5 members of the Panchatattva, Bhakta Rupa is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has come in the form of the devotee. He is Krishna himself, but it is said that he is Radha Bhava Jyoti Suvalitam, Nomi Krishna Swarupam. He is Krishna Swarup, Krishna of Vrindavan, but he has been covered by the complexion and also the mood of Shrimati Radharani. Therefore, Tapta Kanchani Gaurangi, he is Gauranga, golden limbed, just like that Shrimati Radharani. So the heart, the bhava of Radharani, is what Krishna had taken, and he has come as that Lord who is crying out for himself. He has come in the mood of a devotee. What a special feature, that God is searching after his own service. So Bhakta Rupa, and then Lord Nityananda is Panchatattvamakam Krishna, Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam. So he's the Bhakta Swarup. He's the incarnation of the devotee. Then Bhakta Avatara is Mahavishnu, Shiva, who has come as Advaitacharya. And the Bhakta Shakti is Shrimati Radharani, who is coming as the Panchatattva is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit is Shrimati Radharani, but who has been somehow robbed of her full mood. And then Srivas Thakur is the pure devotee. So as the member of the Panchatattva, their mission is one. It is to deliver the fallen souls of the age of Kali. Because Sri Advaitacharya appeared much earlier than Mahaprabhu, he was always being treated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great awe and reverence. And Mahaprabhu would offer him respect, try to touch his feet. Advaitacharya did not like this at all. He felt, what is my fault that I don't get the mercy to be treated as your servant? I am your servant. Everyone else is receiving the mercy of being a servant of you, Mahaprabhu. But I do not. Because it is said, Ekale Ishwara Krishna Arasabha Britya. Krishna is the only Ishwara, the controller of everyone. Everyone else is Britya, is a servant of Krishna. And so even the expansions of Krishna, the incarnations of Krishna, although they are possessing similar power to Krishna, they have a mood that I am a servant of Krishna. And so Sri Advaitacharya, he's all intelligent. He's the Supreme Lord. He devised a brilliant plan how to get the mercy of being treated in my proper position as a servitor of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself. So he decided to teach this Yoga Vashishta philosophy. Yoga Vashishta is a book which is very much loved by the Mayavadis. The Mayavadis are those persons who say that Jagan Mithya, this world is false. Brahma Satya, only Brahman is real. They say Tattvamasi, you are that Brahman. I am God, you are God. It's all one. And they say the form of Krishna, the name of Krishna, is all made of Maya. They say Brahman has come into this world and has taken this form of Maya, a material body. So this Mayavad philosophy, as Mahaprabhu has said, Mayavada Bhashya Shunile, it is the doom of the living being to consider God to be a product of the material energy, or to consider themselves the same as God. Prabhupada would say, not God can never be God. If we are not God now, there is no sadhana that we can perform to become God. And he said that the last snare of Maya is when the living being thinks that he is God. And Prabhupada would say some of these gods are found now in hospitals. Oh, such and such God is sick, he has a liver problem, or such and such a God has left his body. What type of God is this? So this Mayavad philosophy completely annoyed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he heard that Advaitacharya is teaching Mayavad. Chaitanya Bhagavat said he practically ran to Shantipur, and he burst open in the house of Advaitacharya. Sita Thakurani was shocked. He began to pummel Advaitacharya, beating him and kicking him with his feet. The wife of Advaitacharya was saying, oh no, You will kill him. He's an old man. Stop beating him. And meanwhile, Advaitacharya was celebrating, Jai, Jai. Finally, I've received the mercy. Finally, you are treating me as your servant. Finally, I get the dust from your lotus feet on my body. This is the perfection of life. So the pastimes of the Lord, we see one feature of God is dealing with another feature of God. They are also eager to relate to one another. And they are exemplifying that the proper relationship is always based on this platform of servitorship. Chaitanya Charitamrita tells us that Jivera Sarupa Hoy Krishnera Nityadas, that the eternal position of every one of us is to be a servant of Krishna. And love of Krishna is such that it has two effects. It makes one rejoice in the position of being a servant, and number two, it also attracts Krishna. Krishna, in his internal desire, is that he wants to understand the love of Srimati Radharani. He's attracted to love of Godhead. He also wants to taste it. And also anyone who has tasted love of Krishna, he rejoices in the mood of being a servant. So in our line, it is said, Gopi Batur Parakamalayo Dasa Dasa Nudasa. We relish to be the servant of the servant of the servants of that Lord of the Gopis, Shri Krishna. The more we are servants, the more we are fit to receive the mercy of the personality of God. So Advaitacharya, he celebrated this, that the Lord treated him just like a servant. And at some point, when Mahaprabhu had given up his pastime of scholarship, as he grew up, he was teaching. He had a school, Nimai Pandit, very learned. And part of his pastimes was to torment the devotees. He would argue with them and defeat them. And the devotees, when they saw Nimai Pandit, they would try to go the other way. Oh, here he comes. But they would think, oh, he's so beautiful. He's so intelligent. If only he became a devotee. So you can see that Krishna is being criticized for not being Krishna conscious. Nimai Pandit, who was hiding himself in plain sight, he was enacting this pastime of scholarship. And the devotees were thinking, if only he could become a devotee. But he would tell them, don't worry, one day, as we say in South Africa, one day is one day. One day, when I become a devotee, I'll become the best devotee. And they thought he's still just manifesting his arrogance. But sure enough, after his parents had left this world, he went to Gaya to perform the Pinda rites, and there he met Ishwarapuri, to whom he surrendered and accepted Harinam. Ishwarapuri told him that you are a fool. Don't worry about studying Vedanta. Simply chant this Hare Krishna mantra. And upon chanting that Hare Krishna mantra, Mahaprabhu became like a madman. He was dancing and singing loudly and rolling on the ground and perspiring. And he was worried. What is this mantra that my guru has given me? It is said, Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaye upadikshanti te gyanam gyaninas tatvadashina. Inquire submissively from the spiritual master, render some service, and the self-realized souls, they shall impart the truth. So when we receive instruction from the guru, we should take it as our life and soul. But if we apply it and we are finding contrary results or we misunderstanding, we should go back to inquire. So he went back, Gurudev, you've given me this mantra. I don't know if I'm chanting it correctly, but as I'm chanting it, I am becoming as if mad, as if possessed. And Ishwarapuri said, yes, you have perfected this chanting. So that Chaitanya, he came back now as a devotee. news came to Shantipur that Nima has become a devotee, and others were thinking, we think that he's actually Bhagavan himself, God. Advaitacharya said, well, if he is really Bhagavan, then he will send for someone to call me from Shantipur. Then I will believe it. And yes, Mahaprabhu, he requested a devotee, go get Advaitacharya. He should come to Navadvip. When he came, he went and hid himself in the house of Nandanacharya. He said, if he's really God, if he's really the super soul in everyone's heart, then he will know that I'm at the house of Nandanacharya. And sure enough, Mahaprabhu told the devotees, my dear friend, Advaitacharya is hiding himself in the house of Nandanacharya. Please, you go and call him. In this way, Advaitacharya, making sure that no one can easily claim that he is Godhead. He has to prove. Krishna is saying that I am seated in the heart of everyone. Ridesha Junatishtati. Therefore, I know everyone's heart. And in this way, no one can easily claim to be God if he cannot reveal what's in the hearts of everyone. In this way, Advaitacharya, he accepted Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the personality of Godhead. He later on, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eventually came back and he was such a powerful devotee, he was teaching at the school, he was chanting Gopi, Gopi, and explaining everything according to Krishna. He was teaching logic and verbal roots, and everything was being explained to mean Krishna. Nothing is outside of Krishna. Everything has its source in Krishna. The students became angered. We had a very nice teacher, Nimai Pandit. Now, everything is Krishna, 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 Krishna. They went and complained about him, and he realized that, well, my students, now they are advising me, what is this, you're chanting names of gopis? What will this benefit you? And in his anger, Mahaprabhu chased one of them with a stick, and all the students decided to gang up against him, that we should catch him and beat him. How can he assault Brahmanas? Mahaprabhu realized that I have come here to deliver all the souls of Kali. But now they are not listening to me. In fact, they are offending me, trying to rebuke me and chastise me. So as a preacher, he came up with a strategy. If I become a sannyasi, the sannyasis are respected in the society. He decided the Shankara line of sannyasis at the time was very prominent. So if I accept sannyas from them, then every living being following Varnashram will offer respects to me, will take me seriously. And in this way, I can spread the Yoga Dharma. In this way, Mahaprabhu took sannyas. And Mother Sachi, she was devastated. She was thinking that still Advaitacharya's influence, but she kept it inside. She didn't express it. When Mahaprabhu at some point was showing his Mahaprakash Leela, he was sitting on the throne of Vishnu and telling the devotees of their different intimate pastimes with him. And it was time to give Mother Sachi benediction. Mahaprabhu said, I shall not give you any mercy. You are an offender. You are an offender. Everyone was shocked. His own mother, why is he not giving mercy? He said, you have offended Advaitacharya. You have to go and get the mercy from the dust of his lotus feet before you get mercy. Sachimata, very humble Vaishnavi, exemplifying the mood of a Vaishnava. She went and offered her prayers of forgiveness to Advaitacharya. Advaitacharya said, there was no offense, Mata, but if there's no problem, everything is accepted. In this way, Mahaprabhu then gave full mercy to Mother Sachi. Advaitacharya is teaching us that everything is in the mercy of the devotees. Without the mercy of the devotees, we are nothing. And Mahaprabhu is teaching that no matter who you are, even if you are my own intimate associate, my own mother, if you offend the devotees, then you will never get my mercy. So we should be very careful to remain without an offensive mentality towards the devotees, holding grudges. We should let those grudges go. Advaitacharya, when his parents also had left the world, he had performed the Pinda ceremony. And after performing that ceremony, then one has to honor the most distinguished guest, give him the first offering. So he's born in a Brahmana family. But then who did he give the first offering to? He gave it to Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was inaugurated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be Nam Acharya, the Acharya of the Holy Name. But in that society at the time in Navadvip, even till today, still that contamination is there of the caste system, where people consider that simply by taking birth in a family of Brahmanas, of Vaishyas, Sudras, Kshatriyas, by birth you become that. But no, Krishna said, Guna Kama Vibhagasa, by quality and work. So they were complaining, this Haridas is born from a Shudra family. In fact, he's a Muhammadan. How can he be the most honored guest? And Advaitacharya said, what do you know? By feeding Haridas Thakur, it is as good as feeding millions and millions of Brahmanas. Because it is said that the Vaishnava is the culmination of all advancement in life. When one comes to the point, as Krishna has said, Bahunam Jamanamante, Gyanavan Mam Prapadyante, Vasudeva Savamiti, Samahatma Sudulaba. When one understands Vasudeva, Krishna, is the all in all, he becomes a follower of Vishnu, of Krishna. That is the highest position in life. Brahminical culture is a springboard towards Vaishnavism. So in this way, he is Acharya, Advaita Acharya. He's teaching by his own example what is the proper standard of Vaishnavism. So this Advaita Acharya, he had one servant. His name was Kamalakanta. This Kamalakanta, he, being the secretary of Advaitacharya, he understood everything about Advaitacharya. And so one day, he had a letter he had written and he took to the king of Puri, Prataparudra Maharaj. And later on, it was found out that he had written to King Prataparudra, telling him that my master, Sri Advaitacharya, is an incarnation of the personality of Godhead. But he has a debt of 300 rupees, which I would like for you to liquidate. So when Mahaprabhu heard this, he became annoyed. This Kamalakanta Vishwas, how can he declare Advaitacharya to be the personality of Godhead, which is true, and then in the next breath say that the Lord is a debtor, he owes 300 rupees. This is Rasabas, it's incompatible, it's offensive. Therefore, he told his servant Mukunda, I don't want to see him anywhere near me, this Kamalakanta. So Advaitacharya, hearing that his servant had been banished from the Sangha of Mahaprabhu, he was worried, what has happened? He found out from Gauranga Mahaprabhu that he has declared you the Lord, and at the same time, he is declaring the Lord someone who can be owing money in this world. So I have banished him. Sri Advaitacharya said, oh, smiling, he said, Kamalakanta has received your mercy. He has received better mercy than I did. It took me a lot to get your mercy, but him, very easily you have given him your mercy. When the Lord is seemingly chastising the devotee, that chastisement is to purify the devotee, to improve the quality of his devotion. So Advaitacharya was recalling that a similar thing had happened to Mukunda. Mukunda was an associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Mukunda, he liked to go here and there and everywhere. he liked to go to hear all types of kathas. Sometimes we have that problem. Oh, we're going to hear this Maharaj, we're going to this mandir, there's this Pandit there, there's this Guruji there, and we go here and there hearing everything. But not everyone is speaking the same gospel. So Mahaprabhu was upset. Why are you like a prostitute, going here and there and hearing all kinds of nonsense? You please stay away from my association. The devotees went to tell Mukunda. Mahaprabhu says he doesn't want to see you. Mukunda was asking the devotees, please, you ask Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when will I ever be able to be in this association again? Lord Chaitanya said, after millions and millions of years, only will he be able to see me. And Mukunda began dancing in ecstasy. I will get to see him again. I will get to see him again. I will get to see him again. When Mahaprabhu heard of his reaction, immediately he said, you call for Mukunda to come. Because he was exercising the greatest type of patience. He was enthusiastic that the Lord will give his darshan one day. So we are finding many, many lessons around the Lord and his associates. And one such lesson is that Rome was not built in a day. We should not think that we will immediately attain the full mercy of the Lord and see the Lord right now. We should be willing to be patient. Even Advaitacarya, he had to conjure up some ways to get the mercy of the Lord. So if we serve the devotees, then we can get the mercy of the Lord. And if the Lord is pleased with our earnest desire to get his association, then he gives that association to us. Advaitacharya is also famous for having taken part in misleading Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan, because he was in the greatest ecstasy of love of God, he was always shedding tears of love of God. And so his vision was always impaired by the stream of tears coming from his eyes. They went and told some cowherd boys who were herding cows near the Ganga that one sannyasi will come and he will be singing the name of Krishna and dancing in ecstasy. When he asks you, what is the way to Vrindavan? You point him in the other direction. Tell him this Ganga is actually Jamuna. And sure enough, Mahaprabhu, when he got there, he saw these cowherd boys. He thought, oh, I've arrived in Vrindavan. Which way? Which way? They told him this direction. So he followed the Ganga only to find himself in Shantipur, because Advaitacharya had arranged there that he wanted to cook for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So him and his wife Sita Devi would cook for the Lord just to please him. And in the association, they would feed him more and more and more. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would complain, no, I cannot eat more. They would say, why are you trying to cheat us? We know that you are Lord Jagannath himself. You are eating so many times in so many temples. Now you don't want to eat. Advaitacharya used to also enjoy very joking pastimes with Nityananda Prabhu. That those who didn't understand, it always seemed that they were always in conflict fighting. Nityananda Prabhu would say to Advaitacharya that I don't trust you. I don't trust you because I never see you shaved up like everyone else, like all the Vaishnavas. And then Advaitacharya would say, well, you are like an avadut. You do whatever pleases you. You don't follow any rules. And in loving anger, they would throw prasadam at each other. In this way, we are seeing the different interactions of the Lord in his form as Panchatattva. He's interacting with himself in different ways to increase the joy of love. It is said that originally Krishna is one, Eko Bahu Sham, that one Lord has expanded himself into many so that he can increase the joy of loving reciprocation. So on such a day, in trying to remember Sri Advaitacarya, the leader of the devotees in Shantipur, the contemporary of Sri Ishwara Puri, the disciple of Madhavendra Puri, the one major branch of the Chaitanya tree, we want to especially remember that by his compassion for the souls of Kali Yuga, he petitioned Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come. By his loving calls, by his worship of Tulsi, Tulasi, Dalamatrena, offering Tulsi, offering Ganga with bhakti, devotion, prema, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was willing to come. In this way, the Acharya is always paradukkha dukhi. He feels the pain of the jivas who are caught up in this world. And so he's worthy to take shelter of. And on such a day, we want to pray to him that our dear Sri Advaitacharya, O husband of Sita, you please look upon us with your great compassion and you give us strong faith in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message, and you give us practical faith in empowering us to follow the messages given by our immediate Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is representing such Acharyas, and he is extending the very same gifts that Mahaprabhu came to give, that Advaitacharya was extending, that the six Goswamis of Vrindavan were extending. And the real mercy of Advaitacharya is that when we take the process with all seriousness, we apply ourselves, and we transform our lives in such a way that we also have no peace when we see that the world has no Krishna consciousness. Because in this age of Kali, who will find the way out of the dense darkness of the age of Kali without the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? There is no process that will help us better than the process that the Supreme Lord himself has brought, that he himself practiced. We see that he delivered many, many people simply by engaging them in the Sankirtan movement. We are a preaching movement, and so all of us have to see how we get involved with spreading Krishna consciousness. And to get that sensitivity for the mission, we ourselves have to dive deeper into hearing about what are the objectives of the Hare Krishna movement? What are the objectives of this parampara? This parampara is simply trying to convince everyone that take shelter of Krishna via this holy name of Krishna, then everything will be harmonized. Mahaprabhu has said, Stanestita Shuti Gata Tanovana Manobi Ye Prayaso Jita Jito Pyasitais Trilokyam. Stay wherever you are. If you're in the forest, remain there. If you're in household life, stay there. But Shruti, hear the message, and then try to apply it by your words, by your mind, and by your activities. So all of us can find a way to plug into the mission, and that plugging into the mission will attract the greatest mercy of our acharyas, because we become instruments in distributing that which they have come to give to this world. So Sri Advaitacharya is our great grandfather. Therefore, he is most merciful, and we are very much blessed to have come together to somewhat hear of his activities, his interaction with Mahaprabhu. And we pray that he may bless us all to gain more strength in such challenging times, to remain enthusiastic in our Krishna consciousness. Sri Advaitacarya ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. So maybe we can unmute ourselves and then please everyone take a deep breath in. That breath is the mercy of the Acharyas. And wherever you are, if you can raise your hands without being shy, the Lord is seeing you with a loving eye. And loudly, as Advaitacharya called out to Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare
Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama, Hare Hare.
Very nice. Even the young ones can chant. So we are part of this army of Advaitacharya Panchatattva, and we should create these alliances to make sure that we are pushing forward this blissful movement. Thank you very much for spending time with us on this program. Thank you for having me. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Prabhu, we have one question for you.
Yes, please.
It says, while we all may be engaged in some level of service, please remind us again about the real and best mode of being the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord, that we may take away from the suspicious day of Sri Advaitacharya's appearance.
The one takeaway we can take with us today is that the instrument has all the potential to make all sorts of wonderful music. But if the instrument is not placed in the hand of the expert musician, then the instrument remains potentially valuable. So we are the instruments, and we should place ourselves in the capable hands of Srila Prabhupada and his sincere followers. So we have to put ourselves in the hands of Srila Prabhupada by hearing the message of Srila Prabhupada and taking it with all seriousness, molding our lives such that we use, prana, atha, diya, vacha, our life, our words, our intelligence, our resources to execute the desires of Srila Prabhupada. So Advaita Acharya, he came simply to be instrumental for the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to reach the conditioned souls. And Srila Prabhupada is coming to also be an instrument of that grace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we have to just give ourselves over to this wonderful servant of Advaita Acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. He has very practical instructions, following the 4 regulative principles: no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex, trying to chant the holy name of Krishna very seriously and attentively. Those who are initiated, a minimum of 16 rounds. Then when we do that, then we will find ourselves very much eager to be that instrument of Srila Prabhupada and allow ourselves to be engaged in his mission. So let us become those instruments by the grace of Sri Advaitacharya.